It's almost Thanksgiving. You gonna eat a lot?
I can't taste food at the moment, but I still plan on eating food.
Still sick.
This is my favorite
Going
holiday.
on 2 weeks. Thinking we're milking it.
Does it sound like it? Sound like I'm in a tunnel.
I can sound that way too. Thanks for being here though for the pod.
Yeah.
I know you're underpaid.
Yeah.
Doing me a favor. You're a good friend.
Thank you.
So, it's Thanksgiving week. It's Tech week. Is it Hate week?
Yeah. Good old-fashioned hate.
You got some hate in your heart?
I do, yeah. But, it's a good thing. Would I rather those folks in Blacksburg not be around? I wouldn't.
No, I mean, like
It's a healthy hate.
It's a healthy hate. It's not. And by the way, welcome to Greenlight.
Thank you.
Episode 9. I'm not welcoming you. I'm welcoming the people. I mean, I know you did take a day off last week, and to your credit, you've been battling an illness for
a long
going
time.
on a month.
Yeah. I don't want to hip of myself, but I've completed the antibiotic. I'm not contagious, but the stuff in my head is hanging around, as y'all can hear.
I wouldn't have you in if you were contagious, so thanks for keeping on and trucking through this thing. It's not just Virginia Tech week for y'all listening out there. Macon and myself grew up in Charlottesville, spent time at UVA. I mean, I guess you could classify it at that. We studied.
We did spend time there. Some of us graduated from the school.
No need to out yourself right here on the air. Weird to sell real estate and not have a degree, huh?
I do have a degree.
Con.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, so that's the game we play where I try to get him to correct me and vice versa. So scores a lot to little.
Yeah, 1-0 today.
1-0 today. Macon has a degree. I do not have mine yet. I had to leave early to get ready for the draft back in the day.
It worked out for you.
Last semester. It worked out. College is about getting ready for life and occupation.
Yeah.
I intend on finishing.
Yeah.
Always awkward to think about being in a classroom with people 15 years younger than me. UVA doesn't do the online course thing as much. You got to earn it. Fantasy update real quick. I mean, amid all this crazy stuff going on, we still are battling it out in our fantasy football league here.
So I don't know if we're doxing folks or not. It's really a 3-horse race for dyed tips.
By the way, for those of you who haven't listened so far, dyed tips is the penalty, like Guy Fieri dyed tips, is the penalty for the last place team in our fantasy football league. And is a PPL league.
You're trying to con me, and that's a poor attempt. It is indeed a PPR league. Team Conrath is in the driver's seat to get frosted tips, but he's tied with Virginia Cakes. And
who's Virginia Cakes?
Virginia Cakes is Backy.
Our good friend Kevin Backy, friend of the program. Matt Conrath, former NFL player, former UVA standout, teammate of mine at 2 levels with the Rams and with the Cavaliers. He is a 6'7" medical device tech. I mean, right? So is it like he helps implement some of the technologies in ORs, right?
Very good at it.
He's very good at it. But I'm trying to imagine how these dyed tips are going to look on a 6'7" Southside bro.
Yeah.
Him and Backy are both Southside guys, so maybe
That's
guys
true.
in the Southside can't play fantasy football.
They might not want to go home for a while.
No, they definitely can't go back on the block.
Yeah.
With the dyed tips. I think that who's going to have it harder? Backy, who runs bars, right? He's in the business of running bars that range from college bars to adult bars, or Matt in an OR with dyed tips.
The flip side, I would say OR. The flip side of dyed tips is people understand that you're honorable.
Yeah.
You have integrity. Honor your bets. You don't want somebody weaseling out of a bet. and it's a conversation starter. They're both in the people business,
Yeah.
and that's going to start.
But is that one of those things? I don't think it's going to start a conversation. I think in 2019, if somebody has dyed tips, you don't talk about it. It's not something you talk about unless you have a friend and you want them to pump the brakes on whatever this new phase, this existential crisis. I mean, most people in the OR are not going to be like, Scalpel, what the fuck's up with your hair?
Maybe that's right. That's funny. That's funny stuff.
You know, Backy, he's going to be at a college bar. Is he 40 yet?
Yes.
My man looks great for 40.
Yeah.
So shout out to Backy.
Yeah.
Aging gracefully, but being in a college bar, running that bar with the dyed tips, I guess you could throw a hat on. That's something Matt can't do. So who's the third team in the race for dyed tips?
Big Rodney.
Oh, so it's not me.
No. Amazingly, this is one of the bigger storylines of the fantasy season. You, who couldn't care less about your lineup, have gotten to 6-6 somehow. This is the final week of our regular season, and
it ends this week?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have dyed tips.
You cannot make the playoffs, and you cannot have dyed tips.
So who do I play this week?
Me.
Do I help you? Do I hurt you?
You could knock me out of the playoffs, and I think you will, actually. I think you will. You're playing great. Your team's playing great. Jameis
especially
has a good
my
matchup.
bench.
Yeah.
Especially I left 100 points on the bench. On the other side of things, gambling, though, has been going well. Yeah, really well. It's amazing the way things just – it's almost like there's a pattern here. It goes really bad, then it goes really good. And I know it'll go really bad again. Shout out to Fitzpatrick this weekend for backdoor covering half of a teaser for me on his birthday in improbable fashion. If it were legal, I would buy him a nice thing with the money he won me as a gift. I'll wait till he retires.
That's not illegal?
I don't think it is. It's probably like some...
Not an amateur.
Yeah, but if I'm rewarding him for winning me a bet with the money I won the bet...
I think that's legal.
I'm going to send him some beard oil.
Yeah, do it.
He's a good dude, by the way. Also this weekend, there was Gronk.
Yeah.
Took the nation by storm, sitting next to my dad.
Now, your dad, when he rolls into work on Sunday mornings, does he look at a rack of clothes and like maybe he could pick the black mock turtleneck with the black blazer and he instead goes for the three-piece deal?
I don't think the mock neck is in my dad's arsenal anymore. He's a big fan of the bold plaids.
Yeah.
And the sneakers.
Yeah.
Listen, every year, huge box of Skechers for myself, Waylon, etc. Waylon has light-up Skechers, which are still very cool.
And good for your back.
Good for your back, good arch support, Skechers wide fit. They're wide.
I don't think the mock turtle should be in Gronk's arsenal either.
I would like to delete it from Gronk's arsenal, but I think this is what it's all about. It's about trial and error with my guy.
Yeah.
I saw somebody with that famous, still shot that was going around the internet, and they were memeing it, right? The best one I saw was that he is opening the world's first CrossFit funeral home. Like, where do people get this?
Yeah.
I saw a number of good memes. Gronk he's entertainment.
It's all about clicks these days, unfortunately, and the black mock turtle with the blazer will do that for you.
He needs a cross earring with that look.
Yeah. You watch Righteous Gemstones on HBO?
I'm saving it for a binge. Huge Danny McBride fan, but I haven't had the energy or the time to give it its due attention.
Yeah.
So, how is it so far?
It's good. It's mostly good.
Okay.
It's mostly very good. There's a character in there named Keith. Gronk's got a little bit of a Keith vibe.
With the F?
Keith.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I look forward to seeing Gronk on Righteous Gemstones. Also this weekend, Cleveland and the Jets, both 3-game win streaks, I think. Am I correct?
I know Cleveland and, the Jets.
I heard somewhere that's the first time since the 80s that has happened simultaneously.
Wow.
Also the first time since the 80s that I have been able to enjoy Thanksgiving on the actual day.
I hadn't thought about that.
With my entire family. So that's interesting, the confluence of factors and events, my being tired of football and retiring, Kyle being on IR, my brother Howie having the flexibility, he works for the Raiders in Vegas, to fly back east. They're both bringing their lovely girlfriends. It's going to be a lovely day at the Long household. But I also, the planning and the coordination can be overwhelming. And I see why some regular people get very overwhelmed with the holidays. And I haven't even gotten to Christmas yet.
Us regular people?
People that don't have to move Thanksgiving routinely their entire life. When I was a kid, we would do Christmas 2 days late, 2 days early, Thanksgiving 2 days late, 2 days early. You know, so much so that my mom, who's trying to please everybody this year, you know, because there are so many factors involved, it was almost like it was out of habit. We were shuffling which day we were going to do Thanksgiving. I'm like, nah, we just do the real Thanksgiving, like on the Thursday.
Yeah.
Work around that. Because we got tech on Friday, which
That's
we'll
right,
get to.
Unfortunately. Not the game. Let's get that to Saturday here moving forward.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving for me, it's kind of surreal. It dovetails nicely with the realization that I actually like the fall. I never liked the fall. Leaves turn red. It would give me anxiety. Yeah.
What a bad take.
Fall colors, but also you're not getting like loaded up with Toradol on a Sunday and struggling through the week and under immense pressure for 15 years every fall. So for me, the colors and the entire thing, I never got it. I was like, what's wrong with people? But this fall, I gotta say, fall has arrived for your boy.
Yeah, welcome. Power ranking seasons: 1 fall, 2 spring, 3 winter, 4 summer.
Winter's better than summer.
Yeah.
You don't like sweating.
No.
We're going to do that on another show because I'd like to power rank the months. I did it last year, and there were a lot of people that took issue with my November being way down, October being in the middle of the pack. October is a big riser for me as a retired individual.
Well, let's just talk holidays. Thanksgiving is 1 for me.
It is?
Yeah.
Wow. TBD for me. I mean, like, I have been I don't know if the word is that I'm a contrarian, but I'm also not going to put the traditional holidays as high as some. I actually like
Columbus Day,
St. Patrick's Day. Nice con attempt.
Wasn't.
I used to love New Year's Eve. It used to be my favorite.
Ugh. Everybody hates New Year's Eve.
I used to love it. It's a new year, new me. Then I realized after 34 years, I just don't change.
Right.
Now I enjoy it because I can watch everybody's shitty resolutions that they'll never actually address in their lives. So Thanksgiving, excited about that. Thanksgiving foods, you got a favorite? Couple faves?
I can tell you, I have yet to be in charge of a Thanksgiving menu in my 33 years. Very fortunate to have family still in town as well. If I were making the menu, it's pretty simple for me. Turkey, stuffing, green beans, Brussels sprouts, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, and then your pumpkin pie.
So one has to go mac and cheese or mashed potatoes.
No, you need some options for people.
Okay, well, mashed potatoes is going to go for me. I know that's...
Well, is going to go?
Yeah, out of mac and cheese and mashed potatoes.
You're going mac and cheese.
I'm going to keep mac and cheese.
I like it.
Mashed potatoes is going to go. Turkey, if you can do it. I like the dark meat, and I'd like it fried if you can do it. I also am a big fan of ignoring the shit out of the cranberry items.
Agreed.
Just fucking throw them out the window.
Yep.
What it was canned or whatever. Casserole took me a long time. A lot like mustard. Was afraid of it for nearly 30 years in my life.
Yeah.
I'm into it now. Really like greens.
Casserole in general?
Any casserole.
Okay.
Just too messy. I don't know what's in there. It looks like there might be mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Is there mayonnaise?
Sometimes.
Okay, well, I'm going to make sure. I'm going to get with my people and make sure there's no mayonnaise.
You're going to say black eyed peas.
I do like black eyed peas a lot.
Me too.
Yeah. And I know we're forgetting some stuff, but I'm going to go apple pie as my dessert.
Okay.
Over all the other traditional shit.
May I tell on myself?
Yeah.
And tell you that I don't know what a yam is.
A yam is a sweet potato, essentially, right? Cowboy Reed.
And why wouldn't you say just sweet potato?
I don't know. I usually say sweet potatoes.
I'm not a sweet potato person.
Yeah.
And I don't know what a yam is.
I
know they can be candied.
Yeah, they can be candied. And candied is nice, but in general, candied yams are going to be one of the biggest perpetrators of the itis. You just can't move after the meal. Another thing is, like, during Thanksgiving with so many people around, I feel like I'm in a constant struggle to just escape. And that's holidays in general. Like, if there's a nice room that I can quietly go in and act like I'm doing something else for a while, just lay there, maybe look at my phone, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. But you haven't had these Thanksgivings, Christmases
I have not
with
yet.
the entire clan.
I have not yet. I am just applying my logic for social situations in general to Thanksgiving, Christmas. So we'll see. Turkey Bowl, though, the football games, I did them when I was a kid. Did you do them?
Yes.
Did you ever get injured?
I don't think so.
Surprising.
I was probably sick.
You were probably on the 15-day DL with a common cold. Do people get injured in Turkey Bowl games?
I think so, but it's your minor contusion. I don't think there are many broken.
Man, I got to say, if you blow your knee out in a Turkey Bowl, that's going to be a rough 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Woo.
What position would you play?
Me, receiver.
Yeah.
Or quarterback.
No. I've seen you throw a ball. Receiver.
I'm pretty good. I make good decisions. I'm more of a game manager.
You really do. You look like a person, how do I put this, who has never thrown a ball before.
Gotcha.
When you throw a ball.
So the next segment is Jeff Fisher used to do a cool thing. He used to send all the rookies out, and we truly love this. It's not going to sound as funny as it is because that's how stories go, but he'd send all the rookies out to get turkeys on Thanksgiving, go to Wegmans or whatever in St. Louis. I don't think did they have Wegmans? I don't know. We'd set up a camera, and the rookies were supposed to come back, say what they're thankful for, really serious stuff, what the turkey's about, etc. Well, it turns out that they had to basically open it in front of the team and reveal the turkeys they got for our big post-Thanksgiving practice meal, which is basically a bunch of turkey in a training room next to the cuticle scissors and people getting their ankles taped. Yeah. Like, pretty disgusting. But the turkey was always good, so shout out to the trainers for the Rams who used to do it. Yeah, marinated in Toradol, ibuprofen, right next to the Parabath wax that you dip your hand into. It makes you feel better. So all these particles are all over the turkey. It was still good, but moral of the story is they weren't turkeys that these guys went to get. They went and got big blocks of ice, and they had no idea. So you can imagine the embarrassment when these cats on camera revealed that they went and got some ice. What's the problem? You didn't check it, you didn't ask, etc. Anyways, Todd Gurley called me this week. They're still doing it. So Jeff Fisher, some of his draft picks still there. Certainly somebody who continues to influence my life, funny stories, pranks, etc. He was the best with that. And the LA Rams are now still doing Jeff Fisher pranks, and I love it. I want to talk unis this week. We've got rivalry weekend.
Yeah.
And you love unis. I love unis. One key thing with unis, though, is it takes two to be watchable for me. Like, there's some games I can't watch, some I can. I mentioned a red team with an off-red team, like a Arkansas, Texas A&M, can't do it, especially indoors. So I want to rank the uniform combos that we'll be seeing this weekend in rivalry weekend. I'll go first, okay?
Okay.
We're going to go, and I know you have your list prep, but we'll go 5-1, and then we'll throw in a combo you can't do. I just can't watch it, and a combo that is a sleeper that just missed the cut. Okay, so my number 5 here.
You want me to call first?
Yeah.
All right.
You got something on the mic.
That's one. No, I didn't.
Con.
Golly. All right, go.
Okay, so this is the Civil War. For those of you watching out there that can't, this is Oregon State. And I threw up what I love about it is, it looked great in the 90s. It looks great now. Orange and black is as good a color combo as any. And then green, that just pops. And you play that game, it's usually rainy, overcast, or at night. And I love the combos here, even the new school ones.
You want commentary here on yours? What these two clubs have going for them is their proximity to Nike. And Nike typically, although I'm more of an older school cat, does right by these two teams.
Yeah.
But that can also go badly.
It can go
in my
overboard.
opinion.
It's rangy, high ceiling,
low floor.
4, I have Stanford Notre Dame, kind of the opposite here.
Right.
These are two very traditional programs. I prefer Notre Dame in white jerseys in general. I think it really pops. The helmets are beautiful at night, and Stanford in the red tops with the white helmets. It's just very classic.
And you'll get that this week. They're playing on the farm.
Beautiful. And that's not quite USC Stanford. That would be, but we're talking about games this week. USC Notre Dame. USC Notre Dame is beautiful. It's up there, period, as far as combinations are. And we can do that another day. But 3 this weekend is Iowa, Nebraska for me. And this is exactly how I like it. White top Iowa in Nebraska. Although Nebraska, the leg thing, what are you calling that? Stripe?
Yeah, I'm calling that a stripe, pal.
It's an Indiana looking stripe.
Yeah.
It's a little bit Hoosiers basketball looking, but the classic helmets, the piping, right?
Yeah.
That's what we call the shoulder stuff. Or do you call it?
No, that's not piping. Those are shoulder stripes.
So that's what I like. That's my bronze medalist this weekend. Number 2, I think, is one that we both share. This is one of the most underrated, and it was almost number 1. I think that number 1 is getting a little bit of a bias because it's so renowned, but we'll get to that in a second. Number 2 for me is NC State, UNC. At night, can't beat it. Throw any color combination out there. I hate to say that about UNC, but they're not a threat. Beautiful, beautiful uniforms. And NC State, I mean, the pairing, the blue and the red, Carolina blue, that true red.
And an underrated rivalry in terms of hatred.
Yeah, they really don't like each other, do they?
They really don't. And I was raised to not like the University of North Carolina and everything that comes with it, including those colors. And I've come around. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's simple red and blue at night. It's gorgeous. And here's a game that would look beautiful any time of day and is iconic. And I know it's a little chalky, but here it is at 1, Michigan, Ohio State. I prefer it, I believe, in Columbus.
Wrong, but
we'll get to that. I mean, Michigan's uniforms are beautiful. I mean, they really are, especially the all whites for me. And in Ohio State, I don't think they have a combination I don't like. Even their alternates I like. They don't do a lot I don't like. This is an iconic game and an easy one to watch. I wish it were played on grass. That's my big gripe. Here's one I can't do.
Good helmet matchup there.
Good helmet matchup. 2 classics. This bullshit right here. This is a picture of Oklahoma in all white playing in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. Bedlam, as they call it. And Oklahoma State is wearing, this is how you fuck orange and black up. I mean, I don't know how you do it, but they do it. And the Big 12, I think, is in general, and which uniform by conference are the worst? I think the Big 12 has a lot of piss poor uniforms that are leaving a lot on the table. I also think this stadium that I don't know the name of.
Probably T. Boone Pickens.
Boone Pickens, right. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they shot the program there.
Yeah.
I mean, like the brick field house in the end zone doesn't even look like it's shoddy brickwork. It's not even nice brick. It looks like, does the Big 12 have the worst stadiums in college football?
Maybe. Baylor. Ugh.
Baylor's disgusting. Yeah. They've got like native grasses growing right outside a chain link fence. That's like the end zone.
Yeah.
They have like Kansas City Royals baseball stadium concourse bullshit going on. It's gross.
Speaking of alternates, that OU alternate I really do like when they bring in the cream.
The cream.
Yeah. But what we have just shown, listeners, please go to Chalk Media YouTube channel. I nearly got that out clean.
Yeah, you almost got it out clean.
To see that Oklahoma State OU. I'm not with you on orange and black.
You don't like orange and black.
And at least Oklahoma State there was symmetrical. And by that I mean black lid, orange shirt,
disgusting
black
uniforms.
They
make me nauseated.
There you go.
Wild card, I'm going to go Louisville, and that's how you say it.
Louisville, good.
Yeah, and Kentucky. And this is, of course, for those of you listening, this is a picture of Lamar Jackson making everything look super cool. But
Cool
those shiny helmets and a lot of the stuff that Kentucky has to work with from an element standpoint, I actually dig the combination. I think it's underrated.
Yeah, I think that's an awful take.
You do? Okay.
Kentucky with the checkerboard, that shiny helmet.
They can get it right.
Oh, gosh. In Louisville, Adidas, it's like they try out a lot of stuff on Louisville that does not work.
I agree with that, but that picture there that I put up, and again, you can check out our YouTube page, is the one I like. How about your list?
Okay. My number 5 was the storied rivalry, West Virginia and Texas Christian.
Yeah.
2 Nike clubs. Again, if you're symmetrical, same color lid as your pant, I'm gonna like it. And what is new in the last decade or so are what I would call proprietary number fonts, where these schools really have their own number font, and these look fly.
You like West Virginia's font
and TCU. And TCU can get fun with their helmets and put the red stripe, which is supposed to be blood coming out of their horned frogs can shoot blood or some crazy nonsense. No, look it up. That's a good. I don't think that is that a rivalry.
They just do this.
What have
That's
they,
like their thing, bro.
What have they played?
A little creepy hand.
6 times.
It's just a creepy hand.
My number 4 is one that's been mentioned, Ohio State, Michigan, but I think this uni combo needs to be played in the big house. I think that blue Michigan uni is awesome. And I'm not a big red guy. Red needs to be an accent for me. And I think Ohio State with that silver helmet, silver pant, that looks great.
Okay. Who you got at 3?
And those helmets, stunning. 3 is Carolina, NC State.
Got you.
And I prefer the picture I've chosen to the ones you chose. We got Mr. Wolf there on the helmet for State.
Love that.
Yep. And Carolina symmetrical.
Not a big fan of the pant there.
Whose?
The NC State pant.
It's not the best.
And can you describe it for the people listening?
Yeah, I sure will. That's a red pant, white stripe with the S logo, with the little N and the little C incorporated into the S. NC State cannot decide on a logo. They change every couple years between those two. Number 2, also mentioned, Notre Dame, Stanford. I'm going with the Navy Notre Dame uni here. And those all whites for Stanford. I mean, less is always more when it comes to unis. That's as clean as it can be. For those spotters and radio booths out there, I know you're going to struggle without the shoulder or sleeve number for Stanford, but it's just so clean. Both of them are clean, looking great.
You can't lose there. My choice was better, but you can't lose.
Okay, con. My number 1 is not being played this week, but it's Army and Navy. And
Stolen Valor.
And this is...
Oh, my God. We get it. You love the troops.
This is, I think, the 2017 uni combo, Army in all white, Navy in all blue. That's just stunning. Nike and Under Armour going all out for these 2 schools to get them something fancy every year. Do you have any rebuttal to this choice?
No, I love the choice. I don't appreciate you appealing to our patriotism and one-upping me. I think the best uniform combo is camouflage. How about that?
Pander.
That's what you're doing. The Army Navy doesn't really fucking play this weekend. By the way, though, I love they always play outside on grass.
Yeah.
And the pageantry, the people at the games. I mean, like, people in uniforms jumping up and down, like dressed the same. It's a one-of-a-kind spectacle. You're saying pageantry is, you take issue with that.
No, I'm wondering if that was a con attempt. Aren't they playing in Philly these days?
Yeah, they're playing Philly.
Is that on grass?
Yeah. The Link?
Yeah.
You ever seen a game at the Link? Some friend you are.
I waited for the Super Bowl that season.
I'm going to say that, well, I'll let you, I was going to guess your stay away, but go ahead.
My stay away is that awful Oregon State matchup that you mentioned earlier.
No, that's not the best here for people listening. That's neon pants on, is that DeAnthony Thomas or something?
Could be.
Green top and just a busy helmet.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that half of it, but I like Oregon State.
And Oregon State's in all orange with the black. It's just too much.
Okay. That's fair.
What I was surprised about going through these rivalries is that there are a lot of clashing colors, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Schools trying to differentiate themselves.
I get it.
And doesn't bode well for your viewing pleasure this weekend. My sleeper, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. It can go wrong, but when it goes right, it's appealing to my eye. Ole Miss, especially when you throw in that lighter blue shade of helmet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mississippi State, you usually know what you're going to get. I'm not a maroon guy.
Although we went to a high school that did have a maroon.
We did. I'm pushing to change that to brown, not getting a lot of traction. I think brown's a cool color.
Brown is a cool color. Not utilized a ton in the football world. But I will say this, Mississippi State has like a PowerPoint font logo. It's terrible.
Yeah, you're right.
They look like a team, again, not to call back to the program again, they look like an opponent of Joe Kane.
Yeah.
Like they just, it's real defaulty.
Yeah.
I've created better uniforms in NCAA 1997.
I've created a better logo, which we'll get to in a moment. But
Okay,
put a focus group on that Mississippi State logo.
So it is Tech Week, and this is a rivalry we left off because I love our unis. I think that maroon and orange just you can't
make it look good.
Can't make it look good. And here's what the Commonwealth Cup looks like.
Creative name.
You think?
No, I hate it.
You hate it because we've lost 15 straight.
Yeah, that's part of it. But there are some really cool rivalry names. Commonwealth Cup is not one of them.
Maybe by set. Do you have a good rivalry name?
Not yet. Good question.
Paul Bunyan Axe, that's a cool thing to win.
Even Apple Cup.
Apple Cup, yeah. A lot of apples up there. It makes sense.
Right.
Commonwealth is like we ran out of stuff.
Yeah.
I think about like the Commonwealth Attorney and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like paperwork.
Yeah.
Like the DMV is what I think about when I think, like, and I'm talking about Department of Motor Vehicles, not DC, Maryland, Virginia.
I got you. And unfortunately, we also think of 15 L's in a row.
That, of course, the picture was me, and that was Tyrod and I.
Right.
Now that would have been Tyrod and I had we met on the gridiron since.
And me, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. But that was 2007. That was my senior year. Never beat Tech.
Ed Wang held you.
Held me a lot. Held me like it was prom night. Held me like
on some pretty important plays as well.
But that's not why we lost 33-21. I mean, certainly could have affected the outcome of the game for sure, but I never beat Tech 0-4, and I felt like for a couple of years I felt like a doofus about it. But then, I kept having dreams that I would like be going to the Tech game in the dream, and I couldn't get my uniform on.
Yeah.
This was like a recurring football dream for a long time. And I don't think it was just Tech. I think it was like I missed college football. College football was awesome. And I missed like college. But do you ever have dreams where you just can't get your like real estate outfit on?
Yeah.
Can't get the loafers on. You're just like fumbling with the loafers and
yeah. Yeah.
And it'd be like the third quarter.
More of like a lockbox issue.
It would be like the third quarter in my dream, and I'd be freaking out, like trying to get on the field, and I'm watching the game go on, and I'm like, this is it, man. This is the last Commonwealth Cup. That faded. And I think certainly once I won a Super Bowl, I'm not worried about my personal, although I played well in those games. It's just any Hokie I meet, they can rightfully talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And it's not like I hate all the, like, listen, I have respect for a lot of cats that went to school there. Dwayne Brown would be one. Vince Hall, if you remember Vince Hall. He was a linebacker along with Xavier DB back in the day, Phoebus High School. Vince Hall played with me for the Rams as rookies. We were there. We were rookies together. And then we played against each other on other ends of it. Also, Blacksburg, well, not Blacksburg, but Southwest Virginia is beautiful.
Yeah, not Blacksburg.
Architecture sucks.
Yep.
Cinder block, castle-looking
prison-ass
space ass campus. Fucking hay bale outside of prison looking ass campus.
And Virginia's won 27 NCAA national championships.
Yeah.
Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University has won 0.
That's true. Although they have, I'm not trying to, this isn't a con. Did they win in wrestling recently? They had a individual medalist or whatever they do.
Yeah, they had a Bass Fisher take home a title too, recognized by the NC2A.
Well, maybe this will all change by Saturday and you like the Commonwealth Cup, but we don't love the uniforms because the maroon and orange ruins everything.
Yeah.
Also, fan of Bud Foster. Respect him. I also respected Beamer. Found myself at a lot of banquet tables with him and was like, I don't know what to do with this guy.
Frank Beamer's fine. Shane Beamer is not. I do not like Bud Foster. Respect, okay.
But you respect him.
He's a good coordinator.
Bud Foster looks like a guy you could have a beer with. You know what, Bud, you're not a friend of the program, but once you hang up your ugly maroon and orange stuff, we'd love to have you here to drink a Pilsner. Would you drink a Pilsner with Bud?
Nah.
I'll drink a Pilsner with Bud. They always play hard on defense, but that stops this week. We are gonna retake the mental edge in this state.
Black Friday, high noon, ABC, Hoos and Hokies for the right to play Clemson in the ACC championship game. It's a big one.
It is a big one. 2003 events. That's the last time we beat them. What major events happened in 2003?
We began our senior years in high school.
We did. We dyed our hair.
Yeah. Your mom dyed our hair.
She did. And I thought for a second we were drinking. Well, I'm not going to incriminate you as a high school.
I don't.
But I thought maybe it was like a dare or something. Like it was just kind of, we didn't think it was going to stay.
Right. Kingston participated.
Yeah, Matt Kingston. New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
On the topic. World final Concorde flight. Obviously, George W. Bush was the president. Do you remember who won the NBA Finals in 2003?
No. Do you?
I don't. I think it was, my God. Is this real? The Spurs and the Nets?
Huh.
Like Keith Van Horn and shit?
Richard Jefferson?
Whew. 2003 Super Bowl.
No idea.
That was... The Bucks beating the Raiders feels like the 80s to me.
I know, man. It's been a long time.
Well, you're going to be in the booth, right?
I'll be in the booth, in the press box at Scott Stadium.
What's your nervousness level going to be Friday morning?
Friday morning, I'll be excited. I'll have the playlist going. I'll be on the field acting like I'm important.
Yeah.
I'm not. I will do a traditional hug with our buddy Biscuit.
Yep. Shout out to Biscuit.
And
Marcus Hagan's wide receiver coach.
And I'll be ready to go. But the dream you're having, I think it's well said. It's between the ears for us Wahoos in this series.
Totally between the ears. Because
we've had better teams at times during this series, during this streak. And I'm terrified. I'm scared to death. But on Friday morning, I'll be in.
You know why I know we're gonna win, because this is the absolute, epitome of a game we're supposed to lose. And although it's happened 15 times, I think we have reached the apex of games we're supposed to lose. As you mentioned, we got the monkey off our back with the national championship in basketball. I think this is our year. I feel good about it, man. What would you do to make it happen? If I were to, for us to guarantee a win Friday, for a win to be guaranteed, would you let me? Well, it doesn't have to be me. Would you let somebody break your nose, like just punch you in the face?
Will it go back to normal?
Not guaranteed, but they got great surgery.
I could use a little edge to me.
My nose is crooked.
Sure.
I'd let somebody just...
Hey, my nose right now, can you hear it? I think breaking it might dislodge some of this mucus that has been hanging around for 2+ weeks. Yeah, break my nose.
You got all the characters from that Mucinex commercial up in there.
Yeah.
The biggest, baddest mucuses.
I'd shave my head.
You would shave your head,
Yeah.
which is insane to me. Would you jump out of a 3rd-story building?
On to what?
Grass.
Okay. We are in a 3rd-story building.
But the thing is, like, it doesn't fucking matter if we actually do any of this, but this is hypothetical.
Okay, yeah, I'd do that too.
Would you drink milk only for a week, no water?
Yeah.
Supposedly it hydrates you.
Yeah.
Would you drink it for a month?
Yes.
6 months?
Yes.
Would you get a tattoo?
Huh. No.
No?
Mm-mm.
That's fucking weird.
And I'm not anti-tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, well, would you eat? Oh, I have a food one for you.
Okay.
But you haven't done any.
What are you talking about?
You can cue some up to me. See how bad I want it.
Okay. You're never allowed to grow a beard again.
Got to keep the beard.
So you would take 16 in a row, potentially more.
Well, because, listen, we could win it the 16th time, 17th time.
Not guaranteed.
I look kind of busted without a beard.
Okay.
I start looking like some sort of soft-ass supporting actor in like a sitcom in the 90s without a beard.
Take away your phone privileges for a month.
Fuck yeah, I'd love that. I'd love it.
The rest of us would too.
Would you... Would you ride around in your shiny Jeep Grand Cherokee?
Doxed. Yeah.
Your red Jeep Grand Cherokee with a 5-pound bag of horse shit for a month?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
What about a year?
After
a while, I bet it doesn't smell bad.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would do it too.
Yep.
I think that covers it.
It means a lot to us is the bottom line.
Yeah, the beard thing is a little bit misleading because you pretty much said yes to everything, but when we talked off camera...
Well, I had more time to think about it. And I need this win.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's tech. So we'll see.
Go Hoos.
Go Hoos. Wahoo wah. Last night, as we said, has essentially knocked the Rams out. But the Lamar show was much more at the forefront of people's minds, which is saying something because when you have a defending Super Bowl champion and they've had their share of issues historically, hitting rock bottom this fast and in this fashion, it should be bigger news. But I think most people came out of the game talking about Lamar, not the negative.
It was awesome.
It was amazing. I said last night, I joked it was the easiest football's ever looked. And I really mean that. Of course, I had some guys like, well, recency bias, that whole thing, and not to drop that twice. And no, dude, it's not something I tweet every week. So I've never tweeted this before. There were some tweets I liked last night on the game. Can we pull the one up from,
Have you ever thought about spending less time on Twitter?
Yeah, for sure. I actually don't spend as much time as you'd think, but when I'm on, I am firing.
Okay.
Pablo Torre, Lamar Jackson is the only NFL QB to be backed up by his ghost of Christmas future. Of course, that's Robert Griffin III. I wasn't sure how that works. Wouldn't it be Christmas past, or do I have this all messed up?
No, yeah, you're asking the wrong guy.
Pablo's really smart. I think he probably proofread the tweet, and there's a reason that he made it Ghost of Christmas Future.
I would trust him over us. Yeah.
I do trust him over us. Also, though, somebody in the mentions mentioned that it's actually not the first Eli and Daniel. It's a perfect spitting image comp.
Yep. 2 chips on the way for Danny Dimes.
But it is ironic that RG3 kind of, in a way, had a big hand in all this success, and he never saw much of it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a flash in the pan because of injuries, and I'll always remember that playoff game on the sideline. Just didn't look right. Never was the same. So you had that tweet. You had a funny tweet. Do you think this is funny? Joel Ortiz said, Joel with 2 L's, Lamar backwards is Ram AL. And that's exactly what he gave them tonight. ... LOL.
Yeah, that's funny.
You think it's funny?
Yeah, but when you say it, it doesn't quite make perfect sense. It's Ram space A space capital L. Gave them a loss.
It's just...
That's wordplay.
I saw where my man was going.
Doesn't get better than wordplay.
No, it doesn't. And then the same one, the third tweet was Sam Monson. Lamar was passed up for Baltimore's third best tight end in the draft.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting conversation that people don't have enough, in that, we give a lot of credit for Newsom's last draft, etc. And Newsom did a great job. Lot has been yielded positively from that draft, but if you knew Lamar was going to be this good, don't you just draft him first?
Maybe so. Or you have such great intel that you know when you're going to be able to get him.
I don't know, man. I just don't buy that. Last night was like, I was sitting there watching and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is like the best concert I've ever been at. I just sat there smiling at the TV.
It was something to behold. And not just Lamar.
No.
I mean, Mark Ingram was over 7 yards a tote, hitting the hole hard.
When he ran over Eric Weddle, and he was just running angry the whole day, and I love it. I love it because I've always really liked Mark, and to see him, I thought for a second when he left New Orleans, I was like, damn, dude, you're not going to get a ring now. Like, it's going to be, I think you deserve one, because he's been one of the more underappreciated players in the league for a long time. Got lost in the shuffle down there. I also knew it would be a great signing for Baltimore, but I didn't know it would be this impactful. Booger stole the show last night, as he usually does. General observation that hit me last night was, it's kind of an epiphany. If you get the Monday night job offered to you, is it not the biggest possibly terrible thing disguised as an opportunity in sports? Like, you think that Monday night job, no brainer, get in the booth. You got a lot to lose. I know there's the money side of it, but you have to be willing to step in the booth and be universally critiqued and hated.
Yeah.
No matter who you are. Jason Witten went to the booth for a year. He was like, fuck this, I'm going back to play football.
Yep.
I'm going to be out there in the rain in 38-degree weather in Foxborough dropping passes. Like, I'm already a Hall of Famer, but this booth shit, like, no thanks.
Yeah. It's not a good, I don't know where you're going with this. It's not a good booth. It's not just Boog.
I don't want to shit on Boog. Yeah.
Joe Tess,
by the way.
Chill out, bro.
Joe Tess, by the way, if I'm not paying attention, I think he's 60, and then they put him on, and the bro is like just older than us.
Yeah.
Like, his voice, he's got that, like, he's got the perfect voice, right?
I don't know. It all grates on me.
So I guess I'm looking at Booger and I'm like, these guys, I hope to God they never go name search themselves, because people personally, like, legitimately despise you if you're the color commentary guy on Monday Night Football.
Well, Booger does. Booger's a blocker.
Is he?
Yeah.
I actually was late to the Booger critique train. He wasn't bothersome for me. I do think sometimes he leaves some intel on the table.
He told me last night, with under 2 minutes to go in a 45-6 game, that the Rams, when moving the ball, that it was a little too late.
Well, he also said, yeah, it's a lot too little, a lot too late.
Yeah.
And he also, after a false start, which I guess could make sense depending on what play you're lined up to run, but a false start for the Rams in the red zone was actually a positive for the Rams.
Right.
Also appealing to Twitter with the, hey, come on, bruh, you don't block edge rushers with tight ends. Like, Twitter loves that. He went with that. He also dropped a Wire and Melrose Place pop culture.
And he wouldn't let it go,
Wouldn't let it go for the timeline.
One time, quick hitter. Okay, maybe, kind of. But he kept going in on it.
But I guess the problem people had was the Baltimore is not just the Wire. They also have
synonymous with the Wire.
Johns Hopkins University. The Inner Harbor is beautiful.
Crab cakes.
Crab cakes are wonderful. They have cool dirt bike dudes?
Federal Hill.
You seen the dirt bike dudes?
No.
5 o'clock boys?
No.
Really cool. Check them out. We should start a group like that here in Charlottesville. We just ride dirt bikes and ATVs out in the road.
In the road.
In the road.
I got honked at on the way to the studio today. First time being honked at in like 10 years.
You don't seem like a road rage guy to me.
Oh.
But Booger was all over the timeline. But you look at there was a graphic they did put up that I really liked, which is look what Lamar's done to Pete, Bill, Romeo, and Wade. They've had no answers. And these are older coordinators and coaches, but it just goes to show you that this thing is so out ahead of where the league is right now defensively. I don't think people figure it out by Super Bowl Sunday. And that's why they're my odds-on favorite. Lamar is second in line to win the MVP. That's kind of the consensus, is still Russ is the favorite. I think after last night, he's made his statement. This is his Heisman moment, his MVP moment. You get an MVP chance on the road. Not that technically counts as a road game. Anybody goes to LA, you're going to get some crowd noise there. You look at their stats, their records are identical. Lamar's got the head-to-head. Wilson has 500 more passing yards, but same completion percentage. Touchdowns are 24, picks are 3 and 5. It's about the same. The big difference for me is obviously the rushing yards, which Lamar has over 600 more. But it's not just the yards and productivity. It's that wrench that gets thrown into a defense's game plan every week. So that like when you're talking about value and difficulty to defend, Russ runs when he has to, and Lamar runs when he has to, but sometimes Lamar's running game is a designed, it's part of the real run game, quarterback powers, options, this sort of thing. Not just that, he's just more a dynamic runner who said, and they talked about it on the broadcast last night, he's trying his best to be a pocket quarterback, which he is. I mean, he's not thinking every time he drops back to pass, I'm going to take off and run. I mean, when you watch him, he really does. And it's not to dispel a falsehood. He's doing it because this is what makes this offense run. It's his ability to not only do what he does with his legs, but also through the air. 5 touchdown passes last night, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't shy away from contact either.
No, and he some guys fall awkward. Some guys you can tell they really take the brunt of it. He's a wiry dude, but he never looks like he takes the full hit.
Agreed.
And he also leans into hits.
Yeah.
Which I think actually can do you some good.
Yeah.
But 6 of 6 on on possessions as far as touchdowns go, the first 6 possessions. And there were cleaner ways to say that, but that's the first time that's happened since the Saints, I think in 2008 or something. So they got damn near 300 yards rushing. Peters and Ramsey get into it. That was like the other big storyline. Big revenge game for Peters. I think it depends on how you leave a team, how you feel about playing them again. When I played the Rams after I left, even after I made like a big play to help us win that Eagles-Rams game, it wasn't a hateful thing for me. It was like, the circumstance that I left, it was okay. When you get traded and, less than 6 weeks later, you're playing that same team in their house, like you want to fucking get after them. And he went to the hallway, screaming that he helped knock the Rams out of the playoffs, their asses out of the playoffs. And he certainly has helped because he showed up and the Ravens defense has gotten scary in a pairing with that offense. I mean, the complementary football they're playing since has been something to behold. And on the other end of it, I mean, the Rams have been this paper champion defensive team. They've got great players like AD and Fowler and some of the guys in the back end who you might like, but when you come in and you say, well, the Rams are holding people to 11 points on defense since Jalen Ramsey, they haven't really played anybody. And you look at that schedule, you probably agree with me.
Yeah, I don't know exactly which week he came aboard, but Falcons 10 points, Bengals 10 points, Steelers 17 points and a loss, Bears 7 points, and then last night.
Exactly. And I knew that the Rams, again, paper champion is not the word. I mean, like they're still a good defense, and I respect Wade. I respect obviously the best defensive player in football in AD, who doing everything he can. You can only get double teamed so much, and everybody kept talking about, well, you don't hear his name a lot. Well, that's because the entire game plan probably is predicated on keeping him blocked. And when you play that offense, I remarked last night watching, it's got to be the most miserable thing in the world, because when we talked about how they beat New England, what they do is they get you running sideways so much as a defensive lineman and a guy in the front, you play slow. And then when you play slow and tentative, they run it right down your shit with Ingram. And then when it's time to rush, you're thinking about the other two things. And it's literally that simple. I mean, the variance in tempo, the way they control and dictate the terms of the game, man, it's something to see. And I only started watching them in full games the second half of the year. I watched one full game earlier in the year, but to see how he has grown within a year, developed from year to year, and then within the year, like, it's scary to think about what could be the progression for him. And they're innovative. Harbaugh, I said it before, he's a special teams coach, so he has no offensive or defensive lean. That speed and variance, I mentioned the commitment to analytics, going for it on fourth down. They have a analytics guy named Daniel Stern, not David Stern. Daniel.
Ivy Leaguer.
I hear that's a good education, but thinking about a program like Baltimore and how historically thought of as a defensive and physical football team they are, old school, right? Harbaugh has brought, along with Roman's innovation, which we talked about, coming into this game, I said, who's going to be the real innovator? It's Greg Roman, not McVay. Harbaugh has brought this analytical edge and this, like, I'm with the future edge to this very physical and built to beat you up team. And that's a deadly combination.
Yeah. Quick hitter for you. San Francisco goes to Baltimore this coming week. Is the makeup of that defense better suited to slow down this attack? Are they going to like having the LA tape to look at?
Well, I think what you have there is you've got a front that's fast and athletic across the board, but also I think what you have is really, really tight coverage across the board as well, and you're coached well in the back end. If they can play a little bit more zone than even usual, that's going to bode well. Who are you going to spy him with? I'm not sure. Quan Alexander would have been a really good piece to still have there going to this matchup. Baltimore's 4.5-point favorites. That's before they kicked off last night. And I thought about getting on them before. I know the line's probably going to go up now. But yeah, I mean, you talked about Greg Roman coming to this game. Sean McVay, who's kind of stagnated. The development of Jared Goff has actually regressed, and the offense has beyond stagnated. He's this bright young innovator. Roman's this guy that looks like a truck driver, but if you actually pay attention, he has orchestrated the highs career-wise in now four quarterbacks. You've got Alex Smith, who we mentioned earlier. You've got Cap, obviously, which revolutionized the game as we know it now. And you had Tyrod Taylor, who had his highest highs under Greg Roman. And obviously we want to give Lamar the credit, but Greg Roman has accelerated that, I would say, in year two. So what do you do with Jared Goff? That's the big question. That's the 500-pound gorilla in the room when it comes to LA. You've got this guy who you broke off. Everybody knows it. He's regressed within the same scheme, which is where I think is the issue. He's had stability, scheme. There's been some personnel issues that have lagged with him, but the regression within the same scheme bothers me. You get a $15 million cap hit trading him this offseason. Plus, there's $21 million guaranteed in 2020 and 2021. The salary becomes fully guaranteed March 20, or I forget the date in March, but it's going to be north of $20 million. So he's not getting cut, and a trade is only possible if somebody is willing to eat lots of cash and take a hit on a high pick. Or if the Rams are willing to eat lots of cash, they're probably going to have to wait for a high pick. And I don't think anybody is going to send over a high pick for Goff and pay his salary.
Right. There's so many teams essentially tanking.
Yes.
Not even for this year, but years in the future to try to hit on that quarterback.
Right.
And then you have teams with quarterbacks in place. It's going to be, is there any team out there that's close that thinks Goff is the one who will?
I don't think there is. And
I agree.
I think this is totally unprecedented. I can't think of another situation where you're literally like stuck and everybody sees the writing on the wall. And I think most people think McVay's the brightest offensive mind, you know, of the young coaches in the game. And the older coaches aren't. I don't think any of the older coaches are going to take a stab at this.
32 TDs, 12 picks last year for Goff.
Yep.
4,700 yards.
Yep.
This year, 11 TDs, 12 picks. He looks bad out there.
Yeah, he does. And I think, you know, as I'll talk about it with other quarterbacks in a second, is you can't deny that there's a mental aspect of the noise. I mean, I think that at a certain point, quarterbacks who are struggling go off a ledge because of the noise as well, because it is a mental position. And another thing on them moving on from him or whatnot, which I don't think they can, McVay's never had his own quarterback in his short history. Kirk wasn't his guy. I don't know really what he was thinking or who made that call with Jared, but I don't think he's the guy. And I think McVay's certainly got to be sitting there like, man, I believe in myself. I know that I am this offensive genius, but I'm very stuck right now. And his career could hinge on this. You know, it's a big deal. Playoff picture right now after that game last night, the Ravens continue to chase the Patriots one game back, trying to get home field advantage. My bold prediction is they get home field advantage. But as it is today, starting in the AFC, you've got New England with home field. You've got Baltimore with the bye. You have Buffalo at KC if the playoffs started today. You also have Pittsburgh at Houston. I think we both agree who wins those two games.
KC and Houston.
KC and Houston. Now, the interesting thing here is that as it's set up right now, New England, I don't know who they'd be more happy to see in Foxborough, but as it's set up now, they would get Kansas City, the lower-seeded winner, in Foxborough. I actually think that whether they played Houston or Kansas City, you have a better chance of seeing, pick your poison, the Patriots lose a game in Foxborough than you do Baltimore right now in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think you can pencil New England-Baltimore as your AFC title game.
But I think you can pencil it a little bit harder on the Baltimore side.
Okay.
I know I've been lagging behind on New England all year. I'm not. This is not like when you talk about going to Foxborough in January, this is a different team offensively.
And we'll see New England in Houston this week. But I think we're all just waiting for KC to flip the switch. And that could be a dangerous squad.
And that's the key. And New England has owned them in the past, but this team is becoming more balanced as the year goes on. They're getting healthy. And again, if they're going to play their best football in December, that'll bode well for them going into New England in January. On the NFC side, you have San Francisco home field currently. New Orleans has a bye. Now, two games are really interesting here. The Seattle at Dallas and Minnesota at Green Bay, if it were to start today. I like Seattle, and I'm going to continue to hitch my wagon to my pro Kirk Cousins anti-Green Bay. Not anti-A-Rod, anti-Green Bay. I'm going to say that Seattle goes to Dallas and gets the win, and what the hell? Minnesota goes, runs the ball. How do I say it? Right up there, you know what, in Green Bay, and comes away with the win. I think that the interesting dynamic here is San Francisco is not going to want to see Seattle. No matter what happens game 2, I think Seattle beats them again. I think they're going to be keeping an eye on Seattle all year long to make sure that they don't leapfrog somebody and end up having to see them in that divisional round. As it stands right now, if New Orleans got the win, I think. If you're San Francisco, who would you rather see, Seattle or New Orleans?
Seattle.
That's crazy. I don't know. I think he's gonna own space.
It's also November the 26th. Do you know what hypothetical means?
This is all hypothetical.
Yeah. These matchups could all be very different in a month.
I think if it started today, I like Seattle to beat New Orleans. And I like Seattle to see the Niners in the NFC Championship. Throwback to the old NFC West days. And I like Seattle beating the Niners to go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Ravens. That's if it started today. This is going to be all way different, for better or for worse. And one team that's close to elimination here, thank God they're in the NFC East, is Philly. And I have kind of become, just by virtue of actually speaking my mind and being honest and objective, the Carson Wentz take master.
Yeah, as a consumer of your content, I've reached my personal saturation point
of Carson Wentz
with your Wentz and Foles and all this. So I look forward to
the segment being
you
over.
getting through this as quickly as possible.
Well, here's the problem. It's not going to be over quick.
Okay,
we're gonna have to dive into this.
I could maybe do a U-turn and blow my nose.
So basically, it's funny. You don't know this story though. I had tweeted that Carson wasn't playing well just Sunday, as I would anybody that I'm live watching a game. I mean, like I said, hey, missed some guys in the flat, like whatever. I got a text from somebody in the press box, like, your tweet up here is making the news in the press box, in the Eagles press box. These are a bunch of dudes I know. And supposedly one guy said, well, he's just trying to be TV guy now. You are inside of a press box. You are accusing me of trying to be TV guy. I am live tweeting a fucking game like I would live tweet The Irishman, or something on Netflix. Carson's not playing well. I have defended him all year. Okay. So we're going to talk about Tannehill in a second. With Carson, you could point to technique. I've heard quarterbacks talk about, he's jumping out of his throws a little bit, which I don't know if it has to do with the injury or what. The receivers, Dan Orlovsky talked about it. Treggs talked about it, who Bryce Treggs used to play for the Eagles. When you've got former quarterbacks, former receivers, specifically highlighting instances that we all day were like, look at this miss, and it really wasn't his fault. I mean, he's dealing with receivers that haven't barely eclipsed the 100-yard mark collectively on the year. J-Matt, who they brought off the street, was cut in less than 2 weeks, played like 50 snaps. I asked the timeline, is anybody working with less in the league? By the way, you've got Lane out, and the splits there are crazy. Over the last 2 weeks, 3 drives with Lane, 10 points, bunch of yards, and then 23 drives, I think, with 500 yards and 9 points without him. So he makes a big difference. Brooks had, he's had an anxiety issue, which is very serious, and I've really been appreciative of Brooks speaking out on that and being kind of somebody who can be vulnerable there. So he missed the game Sunday. The pocket was bad. Enough excuses. He didn't throw the ball great. He threw the ball poorly at times. And people's usual argument against Wentz has Foles baked in on the front nine. And my problem with that argument is look at both since 17. And what's the difference between 17 and now? Well, they had 3 bright offensive minds in the building at that point. They had Doug Peterson, Frank Reich, John DiFilippo of JMU fame.
Dukes.
Yep. They only have one left. And I think what everybody's missing on this is that maybe not just the personnel, it's this perfect storm of personnel and scheme and Carson not being right. And scheme is the thing people are glossing over. Let's look at Foles, since everybody's so sure about the Foles thing. Their numbers are damn near identical. Foles, I think, as a starter is 4-4 since 17. I think Carson's 10-12. Carson's 38 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Foles is like 10-5. Their completion rate is the same, and their rating is the same. So Foles has been in Philly, not being the 17 Foles. Carson's been in Philly, not being the 17 Carson, and Foles has been somewhere else. And the start has been, what's the word, inauspicious?
Yeah.
But there's other issues there. And by the way, if you ask Jacksonville fans, they want Minshew back, which is a dumbass idea. But the guy that we're all screaming for in Philly, people are screaming against in Jacksonville. So that's how short-sighted people can be with quarterbacks. And I've realized that quarterbacks it's second to politics in the divisiveness of the topic. And one of my followers agreed and asked me, "Well, can you change your mind on quarterbacks?" One guy I changed my mind on is Tannehill. Robert Mays put up a stat. By the way, Tannehill is going to make me, and I did not like Tannehill personally from playing against him or as a player, and I love him now. He's completely changed my mind about him and a team I dislike, the Titans. They're fun to watch. And 64%, I think Robert Mays said over the weekend, they used play action. 10 of 10, yards per attempt was 21, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns rolling out in boots. So they're doing a great job. And since he's been under center in Tennessee, they've averaged 29.4 points. That's like third in the league. That's right there with San Francisco. That's crazy.
Beat the Chiefs,
which I thought was like, hey, that they just, that's what they do. They also always beat the Jags, to be fair. So I'll give this some time. But Tannehill has changed my mind. And there's plenty of quarterbacks that with a change of scheme, and by the way, I always wondered, was it a Gase problem or a Tannehill problem or a personnel problem down there? Well, the way Gase has got Darnold going right now with not a lot going on around him, I think Gase is looking okay, and so is Tannehill. So don't know what the deal was there in Miami. I think the scheme is better for Tennessee, and I think Darnold's got more upside that Gase can work with. But there's plenty of quarterbacks throughout history that have been dependent on scheme and situation. And don't misconstrue this. I'm not saying Brett Favre wouldn't have been great if he never left Atlanta. Well, the reason it didn't work in Atlanta was Glanville hated him, but you've got guys like Plunkett. Plunkett went 23 and 28 in New England. He went 11 and 5 in San Francisco. And then 78 and 79, he didn't play. He's, by the way, a Super Bowl champion, and according to my dad, should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know your take, my take, but here's a guy who I'm compelled to think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Doug Williams was in Tampa, definitely not getting famous until he got to Washington, and that Super Bowl run. Phil Simms is one that's big, right? Giants fan here.
Yep.
Did you know that he was so bad at the beginning of his career? Not bad, but
no, especially given I was like 2.
Yeah, you were young, but I don't know if you were a historian or not.
No, I did not realize the beginning.
7th round pick, right? Okay, so in 79, he comes out in the draft. He's 14 and 20 from 79 to 81. He misses 82, and then he's 33 and 15 from 84 to 86 and a Super Bowl MVP. Theismann, 4th round pick at Miami. I did not know. I knew he was in the CFL, but he was returning punts for a little bit.
Phil Simms, 1st round pick.
1st round pick.
7th overall.
7th pick. Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, okay, my bad. So Phil Simms, 1st round pick, big dip. I'm sure he had big expectations, and everybody's freaking out. But look what he comes out as. And Theismann, of course, another NFC's counterpart from the 70s and 80s. He was in the CFL. He's returning punts. He gets his first start in 76. Warren Moon was in the CFL for 6 years. Warren Moon, that had something to do with the color of his skin, I think, as much as anything. But Dan Fouts is the biggest example to me. Fouts is 5 years, no more than 5 wins at any point in those 5 years. And then Coryell shows up in 78, leads the league in passing for half a decade. Even Kurt Warner, right? Hall of Famer. And people that are young right now, they see him on TV and stuff. And even me, who played against him and grew up watching, Greatest Show on Turf, played in St. Louis, I didn't realize there were such peaks and valleys. I knew that, the story leading up, him not getting a start till 27 and whatnot, and not playing professionally at that point, but he had as many valleys as peaks even after that Super Bowl run with the Rams. He got a start in 98, as I said, at 27. From 99 to 2001, he was electric, right? 98 touchdowns, still 53 picks. But that was a lot of talent around him. And then 02 to 04, he started in 16 games in St. Louis and the Giants, by the way. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Gave way to Eli.
Do you remember him being good in New York?
Gave way to Eli.
10 touchdowns, 16 interceptions over that 3-year span. He didn't start a ton of games. Like I said, it was 16.
Went 5-4.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big dip. And if you consider somebody who was the center, well, he wasn't the centerpiece, but he was a big part of the greatest show on turf. That's a dip that probably in this day and age would be a lot more talked about in the age of 24-hour news cycle, Twitter. And then when he got to Arizona, everybody's like, well, he got to Arizona, it was all good. I mean, it wasn't even great at that point. Now, albeit he was 34, but he had his ups and downs. So 2-8, 1-4, 5-6, 9-7, and then 10-5 and nearly won a Super Bowl. And if it wasn't for some great, I mean, that Super Bowl, the plays that were made were some of the best in Super Bowl history. And that's what it took to beat him. So that's a credit to Kurt Warner being malleable, being tough, being, mentally tough, getting off the mat through multiple peaks and multiple valleys. But it also goes to show you that even Hall of Famers can't just fucking walk into a room and make things great. I mean, they can't. And this is a guy who almost had 2 on 2 different teams. So definitely when it comes to quarterback, I think the moral of the story is context, schemes, the talent surrounding them. It all matters. And I know I'm talking outside of both sides of my mouth because on one end I'm saying, well, Jared, I think isn't the answer, and I'm defending Carson. I think we know if we watch film that from a talent and just how you play the position standpoint, there is a difference between the two players. So I would ask Philly fans to be careful what you wish for, because if you end up moving on from Wentz at any point, which I think is hyperbolic at this point, that's a terrible argument. If you think he needs to play better, I agree with you. If you think you need to move on for him, get ready to be miserable and get ready for somebody like a Frank Reich or a Sean McVay. Pick him up and give him a fresh start in a lower pressure situation, and you're going to be watching him for years to come. You're going to say, man, I wish we were a little bit more patient, with an MVP candidate in 2017.
Can you give me a brr, brr, brr sounder?
Brr, brr, brr.
Hot take, Eagles go 10-6 and make the playoffs.
I don't think that's the hottest take. I mean, I don't think it's likely. But Dallas, again, I don't think on a short week they're even going to be necessarily. I know they were 7-point favorite to open against Buffalo.
Yeah,
I think it's a close ball game. They haven't been dominant outside of division. I still worry about the Eagles playing Dallas. Otherwise, it's all there for them. Washington,
Giants twice. Somebody else terrible.
But I don't think it's the hottest take. I don't hate it. We're going to do an 0-16 thing on the next pod. Cincy, long story short, they're bringing back Andy Dalton. Are you tanking? Or are you not tanking? That's the big question. And we'll go into what 0-16 really feels like, because I was damn near there. And also some teams that turn it around pretty quickly from going 1-15. There's only been 2 0-16 teams in the history of the game.
Six of their 11 losses by 1 score.
Whom?
Cincy.
Yeah. So, I mean, not far off.
If they are tanking, they're disguising it well.
They are disguising it well.
In these games.
But these decisions, Andy Dalton, should he be playing? Yes. Can he save your season? No. Are you driving up the trade value? I don't know. They got to have an idea what they're doing there. We'll get into that next show. Let's go to shit I saw.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. Livy currently and Mark Shapiro should be in jail. He has no pizza experience. He's never been in the pizza category. I would just say, stay tuned. The day of reckoning will come. The record will be straight.
Why not set the record straight now? I mean, what is it about the record that's not straight?
Stay tuned.
I don't know, bro.
That's terrifying.
It's terrifying. Why does he sound like the robot voice on all the crime, the true crime story stuff? Where they shade somebody's face and then they give him the robot voice. He does. He sounds like a gravelly, like a Walmart Darth Vader.
Why is he so sweaty and shiny?
I don't know, man.
I
didn't think his voice sounded that way. Never heard him talk.
I ran into Papa John once in Louisville, and he was top 5 drunkest people I've encountered in my life as he stumbled from the elevator to his suite at the then Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. Now, just Cardinal Stadium.
I think that's a huge fall from grace to have a stadium and then not have a stadium.
Yep.
I mean, that's up there. That's getting canceled and then some.
Yeah. The pizza category. I wouldn't say the pizza business.
Exactly. And he said that the new guy's not going to succeed. He doesn't have a, quote, pizza experience.
Right.
Because they're making, like, craft pizzas at Papa John's.
Right.
You just turn on the fucking machine, and that's where the pizza comes out. It just comes out the other side. By the way, Papa John's used to be a really good product.
Yeah, you get the what? The garlic sauce?
Oh, it's that garlic sauce. Domino's.
Is at the top.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay, good. It's birthday party pizza for sure, but the crust is really good. That's what I like about Domino's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I even liked the crust before they did the newfangled crust, which was probably like a decade now that we're old.
But the moral of the story is how far Papa John's has fallen and how far Homeboy has fallen. I mean, he's not looking good. And he said, I'm not sure why he said this. I'm not willing to investigate this interview in the context around it any further. He said he's eaten 30 pizzas in 40 days, or was it 40 pizzas in 30 days?
40 and 30.
Jeez. These personal pizzas, bro.
And are they Papa John's?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably not. He's got pizza experience, all right. There were also some... What do you got?
I don't know. Shout out Lampo.
Yeah, shout out Lampo.
Shout out Dr. Hose.
Local business. Dr. Hose got great pizza. That guy, the Papa John's guy, who I don't know his name. I'm sure he's John.
It's Schnatter.
What do you think? What kind of beer do you think he drinks?
Beer. Busch Light?
For sure.
Yeah. That's what you were going with too?
Something like it. SoCo and lime shots. Buys the really fruity shots at the bar. You know, they're going to be like the ones that don't taste like lemon drops liquor.
Correct.
I think he buys a lot of those for people much younger than him at bars.
How old do you think he is?
Got to be. I mean, in Earth years, he's like probably 58.
Papa John Schnatter is 58 years old.
Nice guess. But I think he's probably feeling like he's about 86.
Yeah.
And I think he's like Joe Walsh. You know the song Life's Been Good to Me so far? If you look at those lyrics, I always pictured the Papa John's guy. That's how he's living his life. Outside of his means. Recklessly. Happy-go-lucky. He says, one little super fucking racist thing. It's fun to laugh because that's what should happen to you.
Yes,
if
indeed.
you say that word on a phone call. We also have basketball announcers, and I haven't filled you in on what this is, so you can take a listen and a watch.
Jokic around the corner, sweeping hook shot is beautiful.
Oh, we haven't seen that in a while.
Woo.
Good to see.
A splendid Serbian hooker.
Oh, wow. Wow.
He said splendid as if we didn't assume that it, is there any other kind?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard another one of those recently.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, don't, because it could be the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, roll it.
2003, now part of the WAC, and they're trying to whack off Kentucky here in Rupp Arena.
Nobody whacks off Kentucky at Rupp Arena.
Except for Evansville.
Yeah, but they couldn't whack them off.
Yeah. Yeah, those are tough.
This game's getting messy here in Rupp Arena.
Yeah. I hear a lot of play-by-play in my
It's like
my
Kentucky
day.
shot their wad in the first half.
Okay. I'll let you just roll with however many you have before I say something.
This guy's really stroking it from behind the arc. Oh, he hit him in the penis with the basketball.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
I was a part of a broadcast when shot was released, and play-by-play announcer, who shall remain nameless, got caught between that hits the rim and that shot hits the rim, and it was that shit hits the rim.
No, he didn't.
And that shit hits the rim.
No, I know exactly who it might be.
Yeah, yes you do.
Talk about a dox.
Yeah.
I
That'll
mean,
happen. But that's different.
That's not a misspeak.
Yeah. It is, but it's...
No, you're trying too hard. You got greedy. Whacking off. That's not even a term for asserting your Western Athletic Conference dominance.
Right. You wouldn't say they're going to ACC them off.
Yeah, no, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just literally you made whack a verb.
Yeah.
Oh, that's jacked up.
Go it now.
It's jacked up.
You teed yourself up there.
Let's end the show. We're going to talk about an interview coming out on Fishbowl this coming weekend that involves our boy, Joey Buckets, Joe Harris.
Yeah.
Had to get a little NBA in season 1 of the Fishbowl. This week, by the way, you can check out Miles Teller, Hollywood actor, tall actor, Top Gun, Whiplash. Really cool dude, Philly sports fan. But Joe Harris is going to totally one-up Miles Teller. Dynamite interview. It's definitely more like for the NBA heads. Joe is very cerebral, talk about analytics, that sort of thing. And Joe is a really smart guy in his own right. What's your Joe Harris take in Virginia basketball history?
He was a part of that team that got their doors blown off 87-52 to Tennessee. Fell to 9-4 in that season in late December. That team finishes 37 after Joey takes a drive over to Coach Bennett's house and has a heart-to-heart. Turns it all around. Who's win the ACC title, get that first 1 seed, played that Sweet 16 game against Michigan State in the Garden when we celebrated your birthday. Joe's a Mount Rushmore guy for me.
Yeah, for me, he's up there. And one of the coolest dudes I've met in the entire program's history. I mean, like this guy, you think of him, you see him on the court, and you think of him one way, you meet him, he's totally chill, he's funny, he's engaging, and he's been a good pro. And he's happy up in Brooklyn. He's really smart. Let's roll the tape on the other night. This
Ball game.
Ball game. Look at him. Watch. He doesn't even want to smile or laugh, but he knows that. There you go.
Yeah.
So basically, Joe Harris just threw it off some guy's back to end the game. And he was nice about it. He didn't chuck it off the dude's back.
Nope.
He just lobbed it.
Yeah.
Is that a design play, you think?
No.
I think Joe Harris just...
Yeah. Just being the smartest guy on the court.
Exactly. So, Joe Harris, Fishbowl. Check us out on Greenlight. We'll have another one post-Thanksgiving dropping. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. I also want to thank Vicente, Kathleen, Reed, the whole team here.
Yeah.
They have been awesome at putting this together. We are bootstrapping this. We got a lot of nice equipment and capable people back here, but we're not podcast people.
No.
So
it's all them.
It's all them. We appreciate them. And everybody out there have a great Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you guys listening to our show. Thankful for your friendship and your free co-hosting.
Likewise. Thankful for you.
You'll get paid, I think, eventually. So
Appreciate
y'all take
that.
care.
Don't break it.
Oh, you do so many things wrong. I'm so smart. I have a degree. Oh, yeah. I know real estate and sports. And you did a lot of shit wrong today. What? Oh, you're here. I don't have to use the bobblehead. What did I do wrong today?
Can't believe we're actually rolling. I corrected you throughout this podcast, TV show, podcast, whatever this is. I did say I was 2 years old when Phil Simms came onto the scene.
Yeah, you were pretty...
I was -7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to bring up something, though. We talked about uniforms in this podcast. I've been talking about the Virginia logo for a long time. If you're watching, on the right is the current logo. It really has to be on a Navy background to work. My proposal is to change the official logo to the one you see on the left. Same deal. Just put it in a navy outline, and it works everywhere.
And of course, we're talking about the V-Sabres
the
here.
V-Sabres, the best logo in sports. It just needs to be enhanced. I've talked to our wonderful athletic director, Mrs. Carla Williams.
Shout
about
out
this.
to Carla Williams, by the way.
Yep. Jim Booz, I trust, is on the case. Todd Goodale.
Yeah.
That's my correction.
Mm-hmm.
Make the best logo in sports a little better by adding the beautiful navy
I agree.
to our orange.
I actually agree with you, and we have contentious moments on the uniform front all the time, but we agree.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else.
Well, you said plenty wrong, but I think it was corrected in the show.
Okay.
Phil Simms, 7th round pick.
Eat some food on Thanksgiving, and
Can't taste it.
All right, well, that's our show.
Peace.